Is it the kind of thing, though, where when you get that five-star status, people expect too much too soon from guys like that?
Well, there's really people expect too much too soon from any college kid that comes in, whether they've got 5 stars or no stars. It's a tough situation for them to come in and to be counted on, and especially those guys that are in that limelight, so to speak, from the time they're nowadays 9th, 10th graders. But I think he's a grounded kid. He keeps it in perspective. He knows a lot of things he's got to continue to work on to get where he wants to go and where we want to go as a football team and as an offense.
Where does Nathan fit in that situation? You redshirted him. Was he needed a little bit more time?
I don't deal with the snappers. You have to ask
okay.
This area, Jacksonville, from a recruiting standpoint, I mean, Georgia's traditionally done pretty well. How important is Jacksonville to just Georgia,
Our philosophy is Jacksonville's an extension of South Georgia, and a lot of fans and people look at it that way. Playing the game here every year against Florida definitely helps. So, people in this town, they don't have a college team, so they kind of pick one of those two teams. So we've got a lot of Georgia fans in this town and grow up hearing about Georgia, seeing Georgia play, those young kids. So, it gets them interested in. If you can get a kid interested in your school early, you think you've got a chance. That's why it's always good to hopefully coach in a state that has good talent, because they see that team, they hear about that team, so they grow up liking that team. It's a little bit different in today's time because so many teams are on TV so much. It's not like that one team's always on TV. Everybody's on TV. But when people are constantly talking about your team like they do in Jacksonville, when you're a young kid and you want to play football and you're hearing about a team, it gets them interested at an early age.
Mike, as you look at next season, obviously you're going to have some numbers at running back. Has there been any thought with JJ to maybe trying that hybrid receiver kind of role moving forward?
No. Right now he's a running back. But JJ is a guy that I classify as a football player. He was that when we signed him because I think he can do a number of things. Whether he can line up, slot, and be a receiver, I can't answer that question right now. Not because I don't want to. I don't know if he could do that. I don't know if he's that kind of hybrid player. I think it's more of a return guy, running back, defensive back. I don't know if he's a slot type of player, but he could be. We didn't think he caught very well coming out of high school, and he's caught about every pass we've thrown him. So guys improve. Diligent guy that works hard and conscientious. So, but you got to have depth there. We don't have enough depth, and hopefully we can get some in this recruiting class to add to that depth. But we didn't have enough this year, and this morning we only had 4 running backs out of running backs and fullbacks. Everybody was sick, so we really didn't have any depth today in the walkthrough.
Your running backs are sick?
They were today.
You don't think Keith Marks would be ready to start practice next fall?
That's the plan, according to Ron. You'd have to ask Ron for a little more details on what's going on, but he looks good. He's always kind of walked with a little gait that looked like he had a limp. He looks like he's walking better. He says both knees feel good. He's another conscientious kid that works hard, so I expect him, to be full speed when Ron Corson says so. But that's out of our hands. If he's there, he's there. If he's not, he's got to do the necessary things to make sure he's healthy when he comes back and feeling confident. That's the big thing. You don't want to rush it. He doesn't come back and he's not confident in his knees.
Assuming y'all do have the depth everybody's been talking about for fall, would y'all ever consider redshirting him to get him 100%?
Yeah, there's no question. You consider redshirting a lot of guys at every position every year, not necessarily if they're a freshman. Do what's best interest for the team and what's best interest for that individual. And that, that's obviously could be a case where you might redshirt somebody because they're injured and not full speed. You don't want to waste a year. But you're going to get him. You're never going to make a decision on a kid early in the season or fall camp for game 1, game 2. Maybe it might be game 6, game 7. You need those guys. So you got to always talk it to any individual, whether a freshman, a guy coming off an injury. You got to prepare and get yourself back ready to play as soon as possible, and not count on. You just can't sit and say, "Hey, I'm going to redshirt this year's not going to count." You got to get ready to play.
And looking back on it, the fact that y'all redshirted Hudson now was obviously the right call. But at the time, were you nervous the whole time? And Aaron played a lot of snaps through the years.
Yeah, I was nervous last year, but talking to Hudson, and you talk to him, and he'll say the same thing. He prayed about it. He felt his way he needed to do is be ready to go if something happened. And that's what we needed him to do for the team last year. And to his credit, and I've been there, I've been redshirt. It's hard to go in there and prepare and get ready week in and week out. When you know, I was in the same situation my freshman year and said, hey, you're a backup, but if something happens, you're going to play. And then over time, you know, after week 4, week 5, you're like, probably not going to, you know, it's not going to happen. But that kid all the way up until after the SEC championship game was in there every week preparing. And every week I'd say, hey, we're going to, you know, if something happens, you know, you ready to go? He goes, yeah, I'm ready. So that's what kind of kid he is and what kind of leader I think he is that, you know, wasn't thinking about himself. He was thinking about the team, and that's what he had to do. He was ready to do it, and he's going to be ready.